AITA for kicking out half my family during my wedding weekend because they wouldn't stop sneaking in their dogs? I, 28F, just got married last weekend, and I genuinely don't know if I handled this right or not, because the whole thing spiraled into what my cousin's wife is now calling Pawgate. We had a small-ish destination wedding in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. We rented this beautiful estate for the weekend, a big house that sleeps like 20 people, gorgeous ceremony site overlooking the hills, full chef's kitchen, fire pit, the whole Pinteresty deal. We sent out very clear invites months ago. We love dogs. My husband and I have 2 rescues. But for logistical and allergy reasons, we said no pets allowed on the property during the wedding weekend. It was on the invite, in the FAQ section of our wedding site, and in the group chat. Cool, right? Apparently not cool. Because the Thursday before the wedding, our chill welcome night, my sister rolls up with her French bulldog Smushy like nothing is out of the ordinary. She's like, "Oh, it's okay. Smushy's practically a person." Ma'am, that is still a dog. A flatulent, snoring, allergic to everything dog. Then, as if that wasn't enough, my cousin David and his wife Kelsey show up with their 2 golden retrievers, Loki and Pepper, in matching floral bandanas. I genuinely thought it was a joke. But no, they claimed the Airbnb listing said pet-friendly and assumed that meant dogs were cool now. I was trying to keep the peace, so I said fine, just for the night, but they needed to sort something out for the rest of the weekend. Well, the next morning, I come downstairs and Aunt Kathy is pushing a stroller with a Pomeranian in it, like we're at Disney World. I actually laughed because I thought it was a doll or a bit. Nope. That was Twinkle, her travel baby, complete with her own little tiara and flower dog sash. I hadn't even invited Aunt Kathy to bring a +1, let alone her 4-pound gremlin with IBS. At this point, there were 5 dogs in the house. I was furious. Not because I hate dogs, again, I own dogs, but because we had one rule, and people just decided it didn't apply to them. I pulled my mom aside and she basically shrugged and said, "You know how our family is? They don't mean anything by it. Just go with it." No. I was not about to let my dog-free dream wedding turn into a literal kennel. So I gave everyone a firm deadline. By Friday night, before rehearsal dinner, all dogs needed to be off property and boarded elsewhere. Guess what happened? Smushy stayed. The golden retrievers stayed, Twinkle stayed, in a custom tutu. Saturday morning, I woke up early to go over some last-minute setup stuff and walked into actual chaos. Loki had gotten into the trash and dragged coffee grounds through the kitchen. Smushy peed on the hem of my reception dress. Twinkle was somehow on the kitchen counter eating the bacon the chef had laid out for breakfast. And nobody was doing anything. My sister was still in bed. David and Kelsey were out on a pre-wedding hike. Aunt Kathy was taking glamour shots of Twinkle in the bathtub, so I just snapped. I told them all they had 20 minutes to grab their things and get out. Not just the dogs, the humans too. If they couldn't respect a basic boundary at my own wedding, then they weren't welcome to be part of it. Cue screaming, tears, guilt-tripping. My mom begged me to reconsider. My cousin's wife called me a dog-hating bridezilla. My sister accused me of ruining Smushy's weekend. Aunt Kathy passive-aggressively posted a Facebook status saying, "Some people value aesthetics over family." Whatever. They packed up and left, but not quietly. By the time I walked down the aisle, I was emotionally wrung out and had to redo my makeup from crying. Half my family was missing from the pews, and I felt this horrible pit in my stomach, even though I knew I'd stood my ground. The ceremony itself was beautiful, but the drama is still unfolding. Apparently, my cousin's wife shared a screenshot of my text telling them to leave, and it's making the rounds on TikTok as bride bands dogs at wedding, with some influencer voiceover. People are arguing in the comments about whether I was anti-dog or just setting boundaries. Some friends are saying I absolutely did the right thing, that they were entitled and selfish. Others think I should have just let it slide and avoided the drama. So, AITA for kicking out half my dog-loving family during my wedding weekend because they refused to follow the one rule? Hey again, Reddit. Wow. I did not expect my little wedding rant to blow up the way it did. I woke up yesterday to a voicemail from my boss's wife who had seen something about me on Facebook involving a dog and a tiara. Cool. Love that for me. So I figured I'd update since a lot has happened in the 48 hours since I got semi-canceled by people who weren't even at the wedding. Let's start with the group chat implosion. After the wedding, my cousin David, golden retriever dad, started a new family group chat titled Dog Friendly Family Only and added pretty much everyone except me and my husband. I only know this because my aunt, different aunt, not Tiara Kathy, screenshotted it and sent it to me directly like, "Girl, I'm so sorry, but look at this mess." Highlights included Kelsey, David's wife, saying I had dog-phobic tendencies and probably shouldn't have pets of my own if I can't embrace the canine spirit on a sacred day. My sister saying I made Smushy feel unwelcome in her own family and that the dog picked up on the tension. Aunt Kathy posting a photo collage of Twinkle with captions like Queen of the Weekend and Justice for the Flower Dog. I wish I were joking. Now here's where it gets weirder. Remember how Kelsey apparently shared my text messages on TikTok? Well, that post went viral, like 500,000 views in 2 days. Some influencer even stitched it with 5 reasons why banning dogs from your wedding is a red flag. But then, and this is where the karma gods got involved, a local animal rescue in Asheville stitched that video to say, "Fun fact, this exact property has a strict pet policy due to past incidents with guests letting dogs roam off leash. We were called there once after a wedding guest's doodle bit a staff member. The bride was right." Boom. Apparently the rescue had dealt with a different dog disaster at the same estate a year ago. Their video is now also going viral, and suddenly the internet is turning on Kelsey and David for being that couple who thinks rules don't apply to them. And guess what? Now they're mad at me again, but not for kicking them out. Now they're accusing me of weaponizing TikTok clout and making them look like villains. Kelsey DM'd me on Instagram with, "Hope your 15 minutes is worth alienating your entire family." Ma'am, you posted the screenshots. You tried to make me look bad. Side note, my husband is thriving. He literally just said, "I married the woman who finally said no to Twinkle. I have no regrets." Also, this part blew my mind, the chef we hired for the wedding commented on one of the videos saying that Frenchie ate half a stick of butter while the family was arguing in the kitchen. I respect the bride for drawing the line. Absolute legend. I'm still sorting through messages, but here's where we stand now. My mom is staying neutral publicly, but she called me crying yesterday saying she doesn't know how we come back from this. I love her, but she really enabled the dog drama by not backing me up when it counted. Aunt Kathy has blocked me on Facebook. I can live with that. My sister sent me a Venmo request for $62.99 labeled Emotional Support Dog Spa Recovery. I did not pay it. I counter-requested $100 for dry cleaning the dress Smushy peed on. Anyway, thanks for all the support and unhinged dog memes. Some of you are too creative with Photoshop, but I needed the laugh. Let me know if you want more updates. There's talk of a healing brunch my mom is trying to organize next weekend. I have absolutely no idea if it'll be a reconciliation or if someone's going to show up with a goat in a bow tie out of spite. Stay tuned. Update 2. The healing brunch turned into a showdown and someone brought a goat. I wish I were joking. Hey, dog drama enthusiasts and fellow family dysfunction survivors. It's been a week since the wedding that turned into a canine custody war. And guess what? Things have somehow gotten worse and weirder. So, remember how my mom floated the idea of a healing brunch to smooth things over? Her words, not mine. I didn't want to go. My husband definitely didn't want to go. But she begged. And to be honest, I felt bad. The whole wedding weekend ended up a stress hurricane, and I hadn't really talked to anyone since. Against my better judgment, I agreed. But I told her, "No dogs, not even Twinkle." She promised. "Everyone just wants to talk things through," she said. She lied. We roll up to my aunt's house at 11 a.m., and immediately I see my sister's car with Smushy in the back seat wearing a freaking sombrero. Why? Why is this dog in costume now? Is this her brunch look? And then, it gets better. There's a goat. Yes, a live goat. On a leash, wearing a little bow tie. Apparently my cousin's wife Kelsey, embrace the canine spirit lady, decided it would be hilarious to bring her friend's therapy goat named Murray as her emotional support +1 to make a point. About what? I don't even know. That pets are people too? That farm animals deserve brunch? So, before I even make it up the driveway, I'm watching Murray the goat pee on a gnome statue while Smushy barks nonstop like she's discovered Satan incarnate. I turned to my husband and said, "You get 3 minutes. If we're still here in 3 minutes, we get to leave and never talk to these people again." But we go inside because my mom literally grabs my arm and pleads, "Just hear them out." And y'all, the energy in that house was immaculate. If your idea of a good time is low-grade psychological warfare over quiche, everyone was pretending to be chill, but you could cut the passive aggression with a cheese knife. Nobody really apologized. Instead, they made comments like, "We just didn't realize how intense you'd be about some things. Some people just aren't dog people, and that's okay. Sad, but okay." It's wild what people will throw away over a few sweet faces with paws. At one point, Aunt Kathy stood up and actually gave a toast to Twinkle, thanking her for being so resilient after last weekend's trauma. I swear to God, the dog was wearing pearls. Then came the worst part. My sister pulls out her phone and starts reading AITA comments out loud. Yep, she found the original post. She knew it was me. She starts reading the top comment, and which said, "Your family sounds like a circus with a poop problem. NTA at all," and goes, "Wow, this is how you see us?" I said, "Well, you all showed up uninvited with animals after we told you not to." I tried to be polite. "You didn't listen. What exactly do you want from me now?" And she says, and I quote, "An apology for making us look like freaks on the internet." I laughed, not even a little polite laugh, just full-on cackled like a witch at a funeral. Because, sorry, you did that all on your own when you let your Frenchie use my wedding dress as a fire hydrant. Things blew up from there. My cousin David said I had main character syndrome. Kelsey brought up how her TikTok following had dropped by 12% since the Paw Gate video and called me algorithm poison. Someone knocked over a mimosa. Murray the goat freaked out and jumped onto the couch. We left. My husband tipped the goat handler on the way out and said, "You're doing God's work." I'm pretty sure the guy didn't even speak English, but he gave us a thumbs up. Where we stand now. My mom is embarrassed and finally admitted she should have had more of a spine during the wedding. Progress. I've been removed from 2 group chats and quietly added to a third called Dogless Decisions, which includes my cousin Jack, who brought no dogs, no drama, and is now my favorite cousin. Twinkle has an Instagram now. I'm not joking. Aunt Kathy made an account called Winkle the Disrespected, and she's posting screenshots of supportive comments from strangers. The goat's photo is trending on Facebook. My uncle titled it, "The Only Guest Who Understood the Assignment." I don't know if this family will ever fully recover. I'm just relieved I married into a family that doesn't believe in pet strollers and brunch-based interventions. Anyway, let me know if you want update 3. I got a very weird message from a wedding planner who saw the videos and said this happens more than you'd think. Like, dog wedding mutinies might be a thing. Update 3. I accidentally joined a secret network of brides who've been sabotaged by dogs, and Twinkle might be getting a brand deal, so apparently there's a whole world of brides out there who've been through some version of what I just experienced. Yes, really. After my last update, I got a DM on Instagram from a wedding planner I'll call M. She saw the viral TikTok where my cousin's wife rants about being kicked out over minor dog stuff, and she messaged me like, "Hey, if it helps, I've planned 97 weddings. You're not the first to have a dog uprising." She then proceeded to send me a literal spreadsheet, color-coded, of past wedding incidents involving pets. Here are some of the entries. Shared with permission, names changed, obviously. 2019, Charleston. Mother of the bride insisted on bringing her emotional support schnauzer in a baby sling. Schnauzer pooped during the vows, twice. 2021, Santa Barbara. Best man hid a corgi in the venue's coat closet. The corgi chewed through 3 guest purses and vomited tinsel. 2022, Vermont. Flower girl replaced with beagle in tutu. Beagle ran into the woods with the ring box. Groom cried. It gets worse. Apparently, there's an actual Facebook group called Bridezilla or Dogzilla where women swap stories about their pet-related wedding disasters. M invited me. I joined. It's wildly therapeutic. One woman had to cancel her outdoor ceremony because someone brought a literal Great Dane with a bee allergy, and the dog got stung and had to be emergency airlifted. Another had her stepmother try to dye her poodle pink to match the color scheme and accidentally turn the dog grayish-purple. And then there's me, casually explaining how I was outnumbered by dogs in Tool. It honestly made me feel seen. Anyway, back to my family. So guess who's thriving in all of this? Twinkle the Pomeranian. She now has over 11K followers on Instagram. Yes, really. And Aunt Kathy has been accepting free dog merch from Etsy shops and boutique brands. She's doing unboxing reels with captions like, "Twinkle may have been kicked out of the wedding, but she'll never be kicked out of our hearts. I only know this because my cousin Jack, the one who didn't bring a dog and is low-key becoming the group chat's rogue spy, told me Twinkle has been invited to a dog influencer event in Atlanta next month. A literal red carpet event for famous pets. Twinkle, the dog who ate half a stick of bacon grease off our kitchen counter." I asked my mom if she knew about it. She sighed and said, "Apparently Kathy thinks it's Twinkle's redemption arc." Meanwhile, my sister has gone quiet, but I did get a text from her that just said, "Smushy has developed night terrors, and we're not saying it's because of the wedding, but it started after you kicked us out. Just FYI." What am I supposed to do with that? Send a dog therapist? Host a seance for his emotional closure? Where things stand. My husband is still team burn it all down. He says if we ever renew our vows, it'll be in a place with 0 land mammals. I'm seriously considering starting a podcast called Pets at Weddings: The Hidden Trauma. There's clearly an audience. I've officially blocked Aunt Kathy's Instagram because she started tagging me in reels labeled "Family Doesn't Ban Fluff." Someone, probably Kelsey, tried to edit the Wikipedia page for Bridezilla to include a footnote referencing dog hostile behavior. It got taken down within an hour, but not before my cousin Jack screenshotted it. I honestly thought this would die down by now, but it feels like I've entered a full-on bride vs. dog mom cinematic universe, and I don't know how to get out. There might be a final showdown coming soon, though. I heard from my mom that Grandma wants to host a peace tea with just the women of the family to end the conflict with dignity. The only condition? Everyone has to bring a baked good, and Twinkle is allowed to attend. No word yet on whether she'll be wearing pearls or her new sponsored hoodie that says "No man bothered." Update 4. The peace tea ended with a dog-shaped cake, a guilt trip toast, and a wedding video that reopened old wounds. So, remember how my grandma decided to host a peace tea to end the chaos from what she's now calling the Great Pet Purge of 2025? Yeah, that happened this past weekend. She invited just the women of the family, no husbands, no boyfriends, no outside energy, because she said this needed to be handled matrilineally, whatever that means. Her only rules were: 1. Everyone brings a baked good. 2. No yelling. 3. Twinkle may attend if she behaves with more dignity than last time. My husband begged me not to go. He said, and I quote, "Tea with dog people sounds like the opening scene of a horror movie." But I went, because I wanted to hear my grandma out. And maybe, just maybe, find some kind of resolution. Spoiler alert, I did not find peace. I found a cake shaped like Twinkle the Pomeranian, and a toast that felt more like a hex. Let's set the scene. We're in my grandma's sunroom. There's doilies. There's tiny sandwiches. There's too many floral mugs. Twinkle is there, wearing a bow and sitting on a little velvet pillow like she's waiting to be crowned. I brought lemon bars. My cousin Kelsey brought gluten-free cupcakes labeled forgiveness flavors. Aunt Kathy brought the Twinkle cake. Yes, a fully realistic, edible version of her dog made out of fondant and some kind of almond flour witchcraft. It was horrifying. I'm pretty sure it blinked at me. We're maybe 20 minutes in, nibbling on scones and pretending to be civilized, when my sister clears her throat and says, "I'd like to say something." Oh no, she stands up and, I swear I am not making this up, reads a poem titled "If Only You'd Loved Us Like We Loved Our Pets." It includes the lines, "You tossed us aside like spilled kibble on tile, while Twinkle just wanted to walk down the aisle." It ends with a dramatic look directly at me, then a sip of tea. Dead silence. Aunt Kathy claps. My grandma says, "Well, that was evocative." I say nothing, because if I open my mouth, I'm going to snort laugh, and that might actually get me disowned. Then Grandma stands up, holding a stack of printed photos. She says, "Before we get lost in fondant feelings and gluten-free grudges, I want to remind you all what this is really about. Family." She pulls out a picture of me as a kid, holding Smushy's predecessor, a pug named Muffin. Another one of me at age 12 brushing Aunt Kathy's old Yorkie. One of me wearing a shirt that says, "Dogs are better than people." She looks me straight in the eye and says, "You used to understand. What happened?" At this point, I realized this wasn't a peace tea. It was a soft intervention. And just when I think it can't get more ridiculous, my cousin David pulls out a USB drive. He says, "We edited together a version of your wedding video, just the parts with the dogs. for closure. Closure. They play it on Grandma's ancient flat screen. It's set to Coldplay's Fix You. There's slow-mo footage of Twinkle trotting through the kitchen, Smushy sleeping on a decorative pillow, one of the golden retrievers licking a dropped can of LaCroix off the deck. Then, and I swear to God, the final shot is the 5 dogs lined up on the grass, looking toward the mountains like they're watching the ceremony from afar. Cut to black, fade in text. Some guests were never invited, but they came anyway. Because they love. I was so stunned, I just blinked. Then I started laughing, like real, can't-stop, borderline manic laughter. They looked horrified, like I had ruined their moment. My grandma finally stepped in and said, "Okay, maybe this wasn't the healing experience I hoped for, but at least we aired things out." I thanked her, kissed her cheek, and said, "Next time, maybe just text." Where things stand now. The dog wedding tribute video is now on YouTube. It has over 8,000 views. I reported it. YouTube said it doesn't violate community guidelines. I left the peace tea early. Twinkle peed on the welcome mat on the way out. Grandma said, "That's a statement, not an accident." My sister Venmo requested me again, this time for emotional reprocessing services. I sent her 25 cents and wrote, "Buy a mirror." The family is now discussing a Christmas party. I've already told my mom I will only attend if it's animal-free. I hear there's talk of Twinkle doing a holiday photo shoot in a sleigh. I will not be there for that. I don't know what kind of saga this has turned into, but it feels less like a wedding story now and more like a multi-part Netflix dramedy called Fluff Over Function. Do I regret standing my ground? No. Do I think my family has permanently lost their minds? Strong, maybe. Update 5. The Christmas invite came, and it's a trap. There's a dog-themed Secret Santa, and I'm officially on the naughty list. So, remember how I said I wouldn't attend a Christmas gathering unless it was dog-free? Yeah, about that. The holiday group chat, which has now been renamed Santa Paws and Family Claus, blew up last week after my aunt sent out this year's Christmas party invitation via Canva. Yes, she made a graphic with snowflake borders, animated lights, and a picture of Twinkle in a Santa hat with the caption, "You're invited to a very furry family Christmas. Come for the cider, stay for the snuggles." P.S. Dogs welcome. Dog-averse guests will be accommodated in the detached garage. Excuse me? The garage? Like I'm a raccoon who doesn't vibe with Pomeranians? Apparently Aunt Kathy is hosting, and she's going all out. Dog-friendly eggnog, a barcuteri board, which is somehow real, and a full-blown Secret Santa gift exchange. But for the dogs. Yep, it's called Secret Santa Paws. My cousin Kelsey made a spreadsheet assigning each human guest a dog to shop for, so if you're not bringing a dog, you're buying for one. My assignment? Smushy. The very same French bulldog who peed on my reception dress and now sleeps on a memory foam pillow embroidered with Bride Slayer 2025. I texted the group chat, "I'm sorry, I thought this was a family Christmas, not Westminster meets White Elephant. Cue chaos." Aunt Kathy responds with, "Family includes fur. Always has, always will. You of all people should remember that." Kelsey, "You're making this weird again. It's just for fun. Why do you have to be so hostile to joy?" My sister, "Smushy has a lot of trauma from the wedding. This was supposed to be a healing space. If you can't participate kindly, maybe skip." Honestly, I was ready to skip. I told my husband, "Let's go to a cabin in the woods. Just us and some raccoons, real ones." But then Jack, my cousin turned secret ally, called me with intel. Apparently this whole event is doubling as a launch party for the Twinkle and Friends 2026 dog calendar. And guess what's on the cover? A photo of Twinkle in pearls looking smug AF with the tagline, "She wasn't invited, but she stole the show." I wish I were joking. It's already being sold online for $19.99, and some of the proceeds are going to a Positive Weddings Fund. Their words, which supports couples who want inclusive, animal-friendly ceremonies. I'm stunned, impressed, low-key terrified. They turned my wedding into a brand. Now I have to go to this party, not because I want to, because I need to know what else they've weaponized. Are there t-shirts, a podcast, a Twinkle NFT? I RSVP'd yes, but only on the condition that 1. I do not have to sit in the garage. 2. I do not participate in Secret Santa pause. 3. If Twinkle gets a standing ovation during dinner, I get to leave immediately without being accused of ruining Christmas. Aunt Kathy responded with, "We'll do our best to meet you where you are. Twinkle will too." What does that even mean? Is the dog going to offer me an olive branch? Current situation. My mom is begging me to just smile through it because it's only one night and Twinkle's already in the nativity scene. My husband has promised to keep a running tally of passive-aggressive dog puns used during dinner. We're currently at 17 pre-party, including Yappy Holidays and Santa Claus is coming to town. I've ordered Smushy a Christmas sweater that says, "I ruined a wedding and all I got was this lousy knit." Petty? Maybe. But in this house, pettiness is a language of survival. I'll report back after the party. If I make it through this without someone handing Twinkle a tiny microphone to say a few words, it'll be a miracle. Update 6. I survived the furry family Christmas. Barely. There was a dog nativity, a musical, and a calendar launch that almost got me to flip the table. Okay, deep breath. I've just returned from what I can only describe as a holiday fever dream, starring Twinkle the Pomeranian as baby Jesus and Smushy the Frenchie in a rhinestone tuxedo. Let me set the scene. My husband and I show up, begrudgingly caffeine-fueled, gifts in hand, emotionally braced. Aunt Kathy greets us wearing a sweater that says, "Dogs make the nice list automatically." In the living room, there's a photo booth with props for humans and pets. A banner reads, "Yappy Holidays, 1 year since the bark heard round the world." So that's what we're doing. We're leaning in. The nativity scene. This year's decor centerpiece was a full-size nativity with the traditional figures, replaced by dogs. Twinkle sat in a plush cradle surrounded by golden retrievers wearing angel wings. There was a pug in a robe labeled frankincense. A beagle wearing a crown was King Barkmel. I didn't ask about the logistics. I just poured wine. The musical number. After dinner, surprisingly good ham, not going to lie, my sister stood up and said she had prepared a little something to reflect on the year, cue a karaoke track, and the opening notes of, you guessed it, Silent Night. Except it wasn't silent. It was silent bark, loyal bark, all is pause, all is arf. I wish I were kidding. Everyone clapped along. Smushy howled, which they claimed was in harmony. My husband looked at me like we're living in a Hallmark horror movie. The calendar launch. Then came the main event, the unveiling of the Twinkle and Friends 2026 calendar. Aunt Kathy had stacked copies on a table like we were at a book launch. She gave a short speech about resilience, fur, and unconditional love, and said the calendar proceeds had already raised $100 for something called Canine Ceremony Co. Guess what that is? It's a business they're launching. I'm not joking. Aunt Kathy, my sister, and Kelsey are now co-founders of a company that plans dog-inclusive weddings. Tagline? Because some guests deserve to walk the aisle on 4 legs. They used my wedding story, with photos and everything, as a launch case study to explain why dog-centric planning is needed. I was referred to as the resistance bride in their slideshow. I just stared at the screen. I could feel my lemon bars turning to ash in my mouth. The petty finale. As we were leaving, I noticed my Secret Santa gift had been swapped out. Instead of the neutral scarf I brought, I'd received a mug that said, "I survived a wedding, but can I survive the fur Miley?" Twinkle's face was on it, in a veil. I turned to my cousin Jack and whispered, "I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality." He said, "I think you lost it when the pug showed up with myrrh." Where things stand. I've been unofficially banned from posting anything family-related on social media. Apparently, someone found this Reddit thread and now I'm hurting the brand. My mom is trying to organize a dog-free girls' weekend this spring to balance things out. We'll see. My sister is soft blocking me across platforms, but still tags me in Twinkle's promo posts, as a courtesy. My husband has fully leaned into the chaos. He bought me a t-shirt that says, "Let the dogs out of my wedding," and wears it to bed like armor. Final thought, they turned my literal wedding trauma into a merch line, a calendar, a musical, and a business venture. Am I mad? Honestly, no. I'm in awe. Twinkle might be a tiny fluff gremlin, but she's got better PR than half of Hollywood. Update 7. The girls' trip was not dog-free. I got offered a TV segment, and I may be planning a petty vow renewal. So, quick recap before we dive in. My family turned my dog-free wedding into a full-blown campaign of canine chaos. I got kicked out of a group chat, featured in a dog calendar, and soft canceled by my aunt's Pomeranian. Now my mom, sweet, well-meaning, emotionally exhausted mom, tried to make it up to me with a dog-free girls' weekend. It did not go to plan. The dog-free trip that wasn't. The idea was solid. A relaxing weekend at a cute Airbnb by a lake. Just me, my mom, my sister, reluctantly, Aunt Kathy, invited against my vote, and a couple cousins. Mom swore. No dogs, no Smushy, no Twinkle, no random Pomeranians in disguise. We get there Friday afternoon, and for a glorious few hours, it's chill. Wine, board games. A charcuterie board that didn't involve dog biscuits. Then at 10 p.m., I hear scratching. I open the downstairs bedroom door, and there's Twinkle, sitting on a pile of throw pillows like she owns the place, wearing doggy pajamas. Turns out Aunt Kathy brought her in a duffel bag. I didn't want her to feel left out, she said. I just stared at her. She's a dog. She doesn't have FOMO. My sister pipes up. Actually, Frenchies do experience emotional attachment anxiety. Smushy's therapist says. I walked out, took the wine, sat on the dock, and stared at the moon, wondering how my life became a BuzzFeed article. Meanwhile, in Insanity News, I got an email from a daytime talk show producer. Apparently, someone on the show's team found this story after it got reposted on TikTok again, this time by an account that does dramatic readings of insane family feuds. They want me to come on for a segment called Wedding Wreckers and talk about what happens when pets take over your big day. They said it would be lighthearted and that Twinkle is welcome if logistics allow. Let me repeat. A national TV show is inviting me to bring my arch-nemesis dog on air. I haven't said yes or no yet. I might do it just to look Twinkle dead in the eyes and say, "You peed on couture, the vow renewal, petty edition." So here's the thing. My husband and I were talking, half joking, half not, about doing a small vow renewal next year. Just us, some close friends, a weekend getaway vibe. And now, I kind of want to go full pettiness. Like, formal dress code, no pets on the invite in font size 42. Guests required to sign a literal contract saying they understand that violating the animal ban means automatic ejection and forfeiture of their gift bags. A wedding cake that says, "In loving memory of my sanity, 2025, wedding, RIP. Part of me feels like I'd be stooping to their level, but the other part of me wants to hand out custom napkins that say, "This time it's personal and pet-free." Where we are now. My mom cried again. This time from laughter, when I showed her a meme someone made of Twinkle photoshopped into the Last Supper. Aunt Kathy sent out a family-wide message saying she and Twinkle will be unavailable for January as they're filming a brand collab with a dog-friendly wine label. Sure. My husband bought a Twinkle Defense League sticker and put it on our fridge as a joke. I told him if it stays there, I'm replacing it with a magnet that says "Unleash the Drama." So, that's where I'm at. I might go on national TV. I might throw a vow renewal purely out of spite. I might start a podcast called No Dogs, Just Drama. But one thing's for sure. If you invite me to an event and don't tell me there will be pets dressed in costumes, I will leave immediately. Thanks for sticking with me through all 7 updates of this absolute fever dream. If anything else happens, like if Twinkle lands a book deal or Aunt Kathy tries to trademark my wedding story, you'll be the first to know. Until then, stay fluffy, stay petty, and for the love of sanity, leave your dog at home. If you like these stories and videos, make sure to like, comment, and share so we can make some money from ad revenue and continue getting better and better with our publications. We strive to donate a portion of everything we make to charities that make a difference. Let us know if there is someone or thing you want to support. Thank you for staying until the end and enjoying the story.